You're listening to The Coach Show with Coach Banks, Coach Swanson, Coach Koslerich, and Coach Doherty on the Coaching Culture and Athletics Radio Broadcast Network. Sit back and enjoy the show. The views and opinions discussed in this podcast are not necessarily the opinion of the host or the Coach Show on the Coaching Culture and Athletics Radio Broadcast Network. Let's get it done.
Hey, all you knuckleheads, we're back. CCA, the Coach Show. Tonight we have a little bit better interwebs, so we should be in good shape. Tonight, hey, we have a special treat. We have Coach Tony Shiffman, and we're going to be talking a lot of great stuff tonight. But, you know, first and foremost, let me throw this out there. I have 5 icebreaker questions. And since Coach Doherty was on Coach Shiffman's staff, those two are going to be the ones that are going to do the icebreaker questions tonight. Yes, you are on the hot seat, boys. Here's the first one, okay? And we'll start with Coach Shiffman. The zombie apocalypse is coming. Who are 3 people that you want on your team?
Okay. I'm going to take my friend Scott Germerod. I'm going to take my girlfriend because she can cook and I can't. And I'm going to take, oh, God. Can I take a dog?
Yeah.
I'll bring a dog.
Coach Doherty.
I'm going to take our assistant principal, Pat Lamb. I feel like he'd be a zombie killer.
You're killing Pat. You're killing Pat within 30 seconds. You're going to be sick of him. That's not going to last. Or he's going to turn and he's going to bite you, so you're screwed either way.
That's probably true. I'm going to take my girlfriend, Kristen, because she can cook as well. And then I'll take my brother Kyle.
Oh, God. I'm not giving him a week. You're going to be dead in a week.
Oh, my goodness. That one was a good one. That's a good icebreaker. All right. So we'll shake it up so we can get some of the other coaches involved too. But Coach Shiffman, you always have to go first. You and Coach Bryant will go on this one. Here we go. Second question is: have you ever been told that you look like someone famous? Who was it?
Yeah, I get Conor McGregor just about every other day.
I do not get told that. I got told I looked like a All-American from Central College, but that's about it.
Huh. You know what? Let's go around on this one because this is a good one. Coach Koslerich?
I don't look like anybody, man. Nobody can rep this, man.
Coach Swanson?
Back in the day, back in college, I got told I looked like Bradley Cooper, which I'm okay with that.
Cooper. I always got told from my best friend up in by the Milwaukee, Wisconsin area that I look like Dante Bichette. I don't see it though. I just don't see it. All right, so we'll go Coach Koslerich and Coach Shiffman. Shiffman, you got to go first. Here you go. This is a good one. If aliens landed on Earth tomorrow and offered to take you home with them, would you go?
At this point, yes, I'm there. With the way things are going in America and in the world, I'm gone.
Is there football? That would be the question.
There might be probing and stuff like that. I don't know.
Hell no, I'm not going.
All right, Coach Doherty, you'll be with Schiff here on this one. Okay, and this is kind of a funny one. You have your own late night talk show. Who do you invite as your first guest?
I don't know. I'll go with my dad. He can keep an audience pretty well involved. I'll go with him.
not copying, I swear, but I would have to go with my father as well. He's super entertaining and
Yeah.
great jokes, so I'd have to go with my old man.
You know, the heck with it. Let's go around. I'm taking J-Lo because J-Lo. Okay.
Because of the halftime show.
Yes. Coach Brian, who are you taking?
Dwayne Johnson.
That'd be a good one.
The Rock.
That'd be a good one.
The man with no twin. Who do you got?
Kevin Hart, man. That guy is hilarious.
Coach.
That's a good one. I'd go Peyton Manning. I find him hilarious. I love that. Was just that dry sense of humor. I go Peyton Manning.
You know the greatest commercial of all time when he's throwing the ball and hits those kids, right? Oh my goodness! All right, so we will all do this one, but Schiff, you got to go first, man, because you're the guest, and I just want to make sure you're good. This one's awesome. What was the worst haircut you ever had?
When I was 11 or 12, I did the old number in the back of your head for football. It was awful, horrible idea. So that would be the worst. And then from that point on, I just started shaving the sucker. So,
Michael?
Yeah, about that. No, actually, I used to have like a bowl cut, man. I used to have a bowl cut, believe it or not. Probably find some pictures of that.
Coach Swanson?
When I was younger, my parents, before I had any say in my haircut, my mom made me have a rat tail, something I'm not proud of. I've never seen pictures of it, but she swears it was the cutest thing ever, and I don't remember it, but I hate her for that moment in time.
Coach Bryant?
Yeah, definitely the bowl cut.
The bowl cut, yeah. Coach Doherty?
I have the old part down the middle with the waves on the side. I never had a mullet, and I never had a rat tail, though. I'm pretty proud of that.
This really happened, and I'm not super happy about it. But one of my buddies, what was he my buddy? I don't know, but he gave me a reverse mohawk. That was bad. It was a bad deal. But anyway. Was that fun or what?
It was interesting, that's for sure.
Well, you never know what's going to come out of this beautiful mouth of mine, Coach Doherty, you get the first question, man. You put Coach Schiff on the hot seat, hardcore.
Yeah, I mean we talk a lot, so I'm always asking him questions, football questions. We're really good friends, personal questions, but I guess my question now, hi Mom. What's your ultimate goal in coaching? What level, what position? You've kind of been around now, you're in college. Where do you see yourself at the end when you're happy?
That's a great question. I've thought about that a lot. I get those are things kind of I ask myself a lot too. I don't know if I have a goal kind of in mind. I always want to keep growing as a coach and keep kind of climbing that ladder, so to speak. I was a position coach, and then I became a head coach at Fort Madison, obviously, and then my next progression that I've been trying to do was a college position coach, and I guess if if I'm continuing to climb that ladder at some point, try to be a coordinator at the college level someplace. I'm not one of those guys that I don't really want to be like a Power 5 coach or like a Division I FBS, FCS coach. I don't think that for me, I would enjoy it as much. I kind of like the level I'm at right now where it's still sort of, it's football, but it's not quite as business as the rest of it. So do I want to be a head coach again? I don't know. If I did, it probably would be back at the high school level. It's all about kind of what opportunities I can get to better myself as a coach and as a human being. So kind of a runaround answer is I don't really have a set goal, so to speak. I just love doing what I'm doing. I want to keep coaching. That's all I know.
Now I had a little bit of background noise there. I don't know what happened, but Coach, we talked a little bit, prior to the show starting, this recruitment thing and this coronavirus thing that's kind of thrown a damper in there. How have you guys kind of eased that or eased the the anxiety from a lot of players that are looking to join your program?
Sure, yeah. A lot of it, we were lucky that a lot of our on the road recruiting was over and done with. So we got all of ours done in early January. We got quite a bit of our visits done. So we had a large majority of our recruits and commitments already happened, but it's been a transition. I mean, we've had to go all social media, all online, all phone and text messaging. And the college has done some really good and innovative things in regards to campus tours online and virtual tours. And we're doing taking advantage of Zoom and taking advantage of some of those online experiences with the kids so they can talk to the coaches and they can ask us questions. So we're doing a really good job to sort of finish our class. We've got it. Our 2020 class is very, very strong right now, and we're looking just to kind of add a few more just to sort of finish it up and polish it up. So has it been easy? No, but are we doing the right things? Yeah, I think we are.
Any other coaches have questions? Come on, I'm giving you a chance.
I'll chime in. One thing that you know now or learned, from jumping from the high school level to the college level, one thing that you wish you would have known when you were the head coach over at Fort Madison, is there anything that stands out in particular?
The one thing I wish I would have known, that's tough. I think it's a lot of it is and this might not be the answer you're looking for, but it's still football. Like, it's still, for as much as it's college, for much as it's still football. Like, the kids we have the same problems that the kids you have, that the kids Didi has, that the kids all you guys have. It's the same problems. They're just a little bit older now, and they might be, maybe not in all cases, but in some cases they're mature enough to handle it a little better than a high school kid will. So I think that was something that I was not expecting. I was expecting maybe more kind of, thinking that the level they're more, I'm trying to think of a good word here, that they're more adult-like, and that sounds horrible, but they're not. I mean, they're still kids. That's in my mind, I would have been a little bit more relaxed going into it than when I first did.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's good. And that's one thing that, I think a lot of coaches out there wonder, is like, I coach at a high school level. Would I ever be prepared enough to make that jump, or is it very similar? So, no, that answers that question.
I think as a high school coach, if you are, I'm drawing a blank now. My brain's not working. If you're organized, and if you know just a fraction of the game, you can be successful at the college level, truthfully.
Now, what's the difference between like a high school football player and a college football player at your level? Is it almost double?
How do you, like?
The talent pool.
No, I mean the talent pool. I mean it's you got to remember that we're getting good talent. Yeah, but I mean it's not the talent level is not that. I'm trying to think of how to word this. Where the talent level is different than high school, but it's not. I mean, you got to remember these guys we're all high school players at one point, 2-3 years ago. So I mean, you think about your kind of the biggest difference, truthfully, is that they all put in the time kind of in high school more than they did some of the other ones, because I know Derek and I have talked about this. We've had probably 10 kids at Fort Madison that could be playing at this level, and none of them are. And so that's been kind of the biggest thing, is that these are the ones that their work ethic is just a little bit better than some of the kids that I've experienced before, I guess.
Coach Swanson?
What are, say the top 3 intangibles you guys look at when you're recruiting players?
Well, for us, we're a really high academic institution. So they first and foremost, they have to have grades. They have to have a good GPA. They have to have test scores. That is first and foremost. And then we start looking at kind of the football side of things. Can they play? Can they bring, depending on what we need in our class, can they be an impact player right away, or are they going to be a guy that's going to be a program kid and is going to understand that he's going to sit for a year or two before he sees the field in a high impact situation. So we're looking at those types of things, and size, strength, speed, all that stuff is important, but it's not as important as kind of, do they help right away? And are they going to be able to handle things academically?
I'm going to piggyback off that, Coach. How important is it, the parents and how they interact and how they act when you guys are, you're going in and recruiting?
Sure. I mean, that's huge for us, because that's kind of one of the hardest things for us right now in this recruiting, is that, we're a little different than a lot of Division III teams right now. And I'm sure you guys all see on Twitter, and it's dying down a little bit, but we don't offer every kid we talk to. We want kids to come on our campus. We want to actually meet them face to face and shake their hand and sit and talk to them about things that aren't necessarily related to football before we offer them what I always tell kids is before we offer them a spot into our family. So that's huge to us, because we know that kind of one bad, the old adage, one bad apple spoils a whole bunch. One bad recruit or one bad kid can kind of ruin a whole program because they're going to bring things down. They're going to be negative. They're going to, when things don't go their way, they're going to complain and they're going to cause problems. So that's huge for us, that whole meeting and talking to kids. And again, like I said, not necessarily talking about football, talking just about life and school and businesses and things and what they want to do after school and sort of stuff like that.
I do have a question over on Spreaker, and this person, I can't see their name, so I can't give you accolades there. They want to know, what advice would you give to a coach who's very young that has aspirations of being a head coach? Do you think they should go ahead and apply now, or should they wait?
You're never going to be ready for your first head coaching job until you do it. And that's what I told Derek. That's what I was told myself. If you continue to have that mindset, you're always going to second guess yourself. You have to jump in with both feet to figure out how you're going to coach, to figure out what kind of coach you're going to be. Now, I would suggest not doing it, right away. I would suggest kind of learning a little bit and coaching for some time. I know my own personal experience. I coached for 5 years, I think, and then I applied for my first head coaching job, and I was nowhere near ready for it. But at the time, the coach that I was working for said, "Yeah, you are. You're fine. You'll be ready for it." You always want to learn and try to get as much information and knowledge as you can. But you're never going to be ready. I mean, if you think you're ready, apply, go for it, because no one's going to ever, in your mind, you're no matter how ready you think you are, you're still going to have things that come up that you weren't prepared for. So just do it, I guess.
I'm practicing my wait time in case you guys have a question, but I do have several. But
go ahead and ask, Banks.
All right, hypothetical situation, Coach. Okay, you're going against the best quarterback in your district.
Okay.
Do you and he can throw, and they're kind of a run and gun team. Do you suicide blitz, or do you drop 6 in coverage?
It depends on kind of who we have playing defense. I think there are some positives in getting after it and showing that you don't really fear him, but there are going to be some positives in kind of sitting back and letting your defense sort of play too. So again, I'm giving you kind of a cheap answer here. I've always been an offensive guy, so I've never been a defensive guy. I know that the offenses that have given us fits have been offenses that have gone cover zero and freaking brought the house. So if we have the dudes that can cover those guys, I'll probably do that.
We were facing Vandenberg. He played up at Iowa. I know a lot of people know that cat. Anyway, Coach Moore, I was helping signal in the plays, and Coach Moore was the secondary coach or the defensive coach at the time. And he looks at me and he says, "Well, I'm going to go suicide blitz. It's either going to be a touchdown or a sack." It was a touchdown. But Michael, were you on that team, or was you?
Yeah. But I would say Banks wants us in the house anytime he can, right?
Man, I'm here to tell you, we went at the freshman level when I was a Centerville Big Red coach. We did goal line, Mike Stabber almost every freaking time. Man, it was a wonderful thing.
That's the truth. I mean, if you've got the guys on the corners that can cover, why not? That's going to be the biggest thing. If you can do that, then go for it.
Yeah, I seriously remember Michael saying, "Hey, can I do a corner blitz?" I
love, man.
Coaches, you got any questions?
Yeah, I've got two. One, just because our guys know us and they know our nerdiness. Top pro wrestler of all time.
Goldberg.
Yeah.
Goldberg.
What is that? Top pro wrestler?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
That's my. Are we talking top or my favorite?
Top. Best of all time.
Okay. My favorite's Goldberg. Top all time, I got to go Macho Man.
Yes, Macho Man Randy Savage. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Next
who do you got then? If that's disappointing, who?
Nature
Goldberg.
Nah, get out of here, Nature Boy.
Nature Boy. What? No. Where's Hulk Hogan in this mix?
Hogan could only do one thing.
Yeah.
Macho Man could power you, or he could come from the top rope. Come on.
What about the first Ultimate Warrior?
He's pretty good.
He's pretty tough.
Yeah.
All right, my next question.
Yeah.
What is one thing that you miss most about coaching high school football, and one thing that you absolutely do not miss?
So the one thing I miss most is I like calling plays. I mean, I love calling plays and kind of preparing for opponents. Obviously I'm still preparing for opponents, but I like that aspect of things in the game. The one thing I absolutely do not miss is sitting in a classroom from 8 a.m. till 3 p.m. That's why I got out of high school coaching, was because of just the classroom. And don't get me wrong, I was talking to another coach about this. I love teaching. I love, I understand that football and coaching and teaching are kind of hand in hand the same thing, but the day-to-day classroom monotony was wearing on me a lot. So
I'm telling you, it that was weird. I'm not sure what that was. Whether it was Darth Vader or Darth Maul. Okay, Schiff, are you a Star Trek or a Star Wars guy?
Star Wars.
Okay. I mean, I think that's pretty important anytime you're looking at football, right?
Yeah. I'm a huge dork. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I love football and I love everything about football, but like, give me Star Wars, give me Marvel, give me Game of Thrones. I'm all in.
Oh man. What about The Witcher? Have you watched that?
I did. I couldn't get into it.
Well, it's because the guy only had 2 words and we can't say them on CCA.
Yeah. I couldn't get into it very much.
Oh man. Coach Bryant, you have to have a question for this man. He's a plethora of knowledge, man.
Okay, yeah, I got one. So, after the recruiting process, some of these kids probably don't understand the day-to-day schedule that college athletes, especially college football players, have. So kind of take them through, let's go a season day. Like, what would a player be doing each day?
Sure. Well, the one thing I will tell you that there is a lot of kids don't realize there is a lot of downtime. Like, you will have a lot of free time. It's not nonstop from 6 a.m. till 7 p.m. You do have some downtime in there, and you have a lot more than you might think. But a typical day for us, we're going to start out, depending on the kid, we have 3 weightlifting sessions during the day. So we'll go, during season, we'll go 8 a.m., we'll go 11 a.m., and we'll go 1 p.m. So depending on your class schedule, your weightlifting is going to fit in there. We are not allowed to have practice until 4 o'clock. That is a campus-wide rule. Everybody has their academics up until 4 o'clock, and then from 4 to 6 is the sort of practice window for all sports. So that's going to be dedicated to that. You usually, depending on the day, you're gonna come in about an hour early, if you can, and maybe get some film work in, maybe just kind of get some treatment in before practice. And then we'll practice, like I said, from 4 to 6. Now, for our kids, for freshmen, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we have mandatory study table. So at about 7, I think we start at 7 o'clock. They'll be back for mandatory study table till about 9. And they're gonna hit the books. They're gonna do what they're supposed to do. If they're having trouble in classes, we've got tutors that come in. They're gonna do what they're supposed to be doing academically. And then they're kind of free to go. So what you do with the rest of your day is kind of up to you. Obviously we want kids to go eat breakfast and lunch and dinner. But it kind of depends. So I know, for instance, one of our starting running back this year, he was done with classes at like 1 o'clock every day. He would come over to the athletic facility and get treatment for an hour and a half to 2 hours every day. And that was kind of his sort of alone time, and he would do homework, and he would sit in the ice bath, and he would get treatment on his legs and shoulders and everything. So it's kind of up to you, truthfully. But there is a lot of, like I said, a lot of downtime and a lot of time to yourself. But when it's time to do your work and time to get to business, we require you to be there, and you better be locked in and loaded. So it's not meant to be a lot. It's kind of if you allow it to be a lot. And there are some kids that it becomes a lot, and they have to sort of step back and maybe cut out a little bit of social time and spend more time doing things. But for the most part, for the majority of kids, they can handle it pretty well, and they can kind of handle that sort of, again, like I said earlier, the business side of things. They can handle that business side of things.
You talk about practice being at 4 o'clock. How long is practice generally?
About 2 hours usually. It will, especially during the early part of the season, it'll be 2 hours. For us, our heavy days are Tuesday and Wednesdays, and then our Thursdays and Fridays we kind of back off a little bit. So those are about an hour and a half practices, maybe an hour and a half. But Tuesdays and Wednesdays we'll go that full 2 hours and practice them hard.
Coaches?
Hey, Banks had the defensive question. I've got an offensive question for you. You said you're an offensive-minded guy. What team out there, maybe at the college level or the professional level, do you enjoy just sitting back and watching them run their offense, or a particular type of offense that you really enjoy watching? I noticed on your tweet last night you're probably not a big fan of the air raid. Might be running mesh or something like that right now.
No, I actually do like air raid. I like air. I'll tell you this. I like air raid when it's run properly. How about that? I like, so college level, I really like Oklahoma. I kind of like what they do with their gap schemes and sort of their RPO game. And then professionally, I like the Ravens. Not just because of Lamar Jackson, but just because I love what they're doing with all different sorts of personnels. How we watch this as an offensive staff. We watch film a ton, and they're lining up with 4 guys spread out, but those 4 guys are 1 receiver and 3 tight ends, or 2 tight ends and a fullback and a receiver. So they're doing all different sorts of formations and personnel differences. So that's kind of really intriguing. Plus, they're obviously with what they are doing with Lamar Jackson, it's really, really intriguing and kind of innovative as well. So those 2 probably would be my favorite.
I got to throw this out there. If you were to pick between, now this is prime, okay, at the following 3 quarterbacks, all right, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, or Lamar Jackson.
Okay. Who else do I have?
Just those 3.
No, I mean, like what teams? Because just by themselves, it's just like because that's the thing. Tom Brady's a good quarterback, but Tom Brady had a lot of good pieces around him. Lamar Jackson, they've all got good pieces around him. So I guess I need a sidebar question of what pieces do I have?
Okay, the Chicago Bears.
Probably going to go Mahomes there. I think the Bears have an underrated group of receivers and tight ends and a decent couple of running backs. And I think with kind of what Mahomes does with that offensive system, kind of spreading the ball around to everybody, he would fit well with the Bears.
To kind of piggyback a little bit, and this is kind of backtracking. Now you're the offensive coordinator for whoever. Now do do you like the 2x2 spread look, or do you like trips more?
I think it depends on personnel a little bit. If you've got a guy like one dude, and this is something that, hindsight's always 20/20. This is something we didn't do a good job of my first year at Fort Madison. We had a really, really good wide receiver. We never isolated him. We had Chance Red Donald, who was probably one of the best receivers in the district that year. We never put him one-on-one by himself, and that was a shame on us. So I think if you've got one really good dude, isolate him as much as you can. But if you've got kind of balanced out, I like the 2x2 look, and it's just going to be more balanced for your offense and give you some different looks and different options.
I will throw this out there. Whoop, I don't know what that is. When we at Central Lee played you guys, and we played the 3-3, you'd isolate him on a slant. Whereas when I went 4-2, then you would run the ball. I didn't understand it, Coach. You killed me that year.
Was that the first year or the second year?
I'm not sure. I think it was the year. Let's see. Probably.
Were we at your place or our place?
At your place.
Okay, so that was the first year. So my first year at Fort Madison, we had Alex Gully, who was an all-state running back, who was just an absolute stud, and I wish I'd given him the ball 150 more times that year. I would have run. I didn't care what you were doing on defense. I was going to give him the ball 30 times, and I should have, and I didn't. So, that was that first year was kind of, again, it was my first time really calling plays at the varsity level, and trying to do different things. Remember, these guys, Fort Madison, for the previous decade had been a single double wing team, so throwing the football was new to them, and so we were trying to just find out what we were good at still at that point.
You definitely frustrated me, I'll tell you that. Coaches? Gosh, it's
I'll
quiet.
piggyback again. Just obviously you're at Fort Madison. Didn't have obviously the successful program tradition, as some of those high schools out there see. How did you keep like that positive vibe going with your team, even though through struggling times? How did you continue to have, I don't know if you get set short-term goals or goals throughout the game? Obviously you guys are going up against some stiff competition and you're trying to rechange that culture there. What were some things that you did to keep that just positive vibe going?
Yeah. Having a lot of conversations with Doherty. He kind of talked me off the ledge a couple times here and there. So they were kids that didn't, at the time when I got there, now they're better now, obviously. And a lot of that is still as a testament to Derek, not to me. He's done a great job with taking over, and I knew he would, but a lot of those kids just didn't understand what winning was. I can remember going into, the Central League game that first year after we beat Davis County 39-0, and talking to the coaches and be like, this is the biggest game these guys are going to play in a long time. And they kind of rose up to it. And then after that, the next week, talking about going to Oskaloosa, same thing, guys, this is the biggest game we're going to play. And then we kind of crapped the bed a little bit. So they didn't understand how to be successful. And that was frustrating to try to teach them that, try to be positive and tell them that, guys, you are a good group of guys. You are good football players. You are a good football team. Believe in yourselves. I can tell you 1,000 stories and get into it for hours on issues we had, but they weren't confident, and we were trying so hard to show them that they could be better than they were if they just played with a little bit of confidence. And I had a couple moments. I can distinctly remember a couple moments where I about lost it and kind of, like I said, had to get talked down from the ledge. And truthfully, one of those moments where I just kind of had to step back and collect myself. We at halftime at West Burlington my first year, and I was looking at these guys and saying, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? And I just finally kind of caught my breath and went in and I don't even remember what I said. I just remember being super calm, and we came out and ended up winning that game. So they had some really good moments of showing that they could believe, but it was still kind of new, and then in some aspects it's still new for Derek, for those guys that are there, but they're getting better at it. And it showed this year. One of the things we had my first year was feast or famine. We were going to win, but we were going to get our asses kicked. And, you look at these guys this past year, I watched every game, and they had a couple close ones, pulling it out against Fairfield, and even the Burlington game was close for a little bit. So, they're learning how to win those tough games that are going to turn, that's going to take them from 4-5 to 5-4, 6-3, and hopefully further on. So it's you hate to say the cliche and you hate to use it, but it's a process. And it takes time, and it doesn't happen overnight. We were thrilled with the record we had over the 2 years I was there, but we knew that was probably about close to our ceiling. We knew that, I'm the dumbass. In my first year, I opened up my big mouth and I said we're going to win 6 games, and we kind of blew it. But that was sort of our ceiling. We knew. And these are kind of those conversations you have as coaches you don't have in front of the kids, but we knew we weren't going to beat Solon. We knew Washington was going to be a tough-ass game, that we were going to have a hard – because that Washington team was loaded.
They were good.
We knew Mount Pleasant was going to be tough. Now, I still think that was a game we could have won. And then the one that still eats at me and will eat at me forever was Fairfield that year, because we knew we were better than Fairfield and just didn't play well that game. So it was we knew kind of what we were, and we knew the year after that we were going to have some struggles as well. So just teaching those guys that how to win and how to play was the toughest thing. But they want to be successful, they want to have it, but it's just it comes down to the work ethic thing, and a lot of those guys had a hard time buying into that.
Let's see. I'm going to ask you. That must be my mic. I don't know what that is, but I don't know whether I have demon dogs in my basement or what the hell happened. But anyway, kind of a three-tiered question, Coach. Tell us your most memorable, exciting experience, as a Fort Madison coach, as a college coach, and at a personal level.
My best experience as Fort Madison coach was winning the first game. That was awesome. I just got chills thinking about it right now. The stadium was packed. It was, everybody came out. Like I was telling you guys, the helicopter brought a game ball down, and it was, it was a lot of buildup, and thank God we played well. And I'm still a little upset we didn't score. I was trying to score more points that game than they did the year before. Throughout the entire season, we didn't. But that game was really awesome. At Lake Forest, probably, truthfully, my best experience so far has been off the field. Has been getting my first recruits signed. That's been kind of an awesome experience. Just knowing that I can do it. I guess kind of. And then what was the third one? I got horrible brain problems. Your
personal best.
In coaching?
It can be anything.
I think just anytime a former player calls me coach, that's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. Anytime somebody reaches out and talks to me and calls me coach still, those are always kind of pretty cool moments.
And I have one more question. I apologize, coaches. All these questions are coming up in my brain here, and I have to act on it. What advice would you give to these kids that could lose their senior eligibility, whether it be college, whether it be in high school, and what advice would you give to the coaches, because the coaches are crushed and mainly crushed for those kids?
I think for the coaches. I'll go first. Just keep learning. Keep doing what you're doing. Right now, social media is awesome with coaches and with kind of knowledge being thrown out there, and keep learning, keep asking questions, keep making those relationships. And with the players, just try to stay positive as best as you can. I think I'm trying to be positive, and it's going to get better. But just, it's going to take some time. And I think, it feels, I was just in Fort Madison 2 weeks ago, to see Derek, and it feels like it was 3 months ago. And it's hard to, it feels like time's going so slow right now, but there's still a lot of time, left, and just be as positive as you can, because things will get better.
Coaches?
What advice, and I know that we've had these conversations and I've heard you talk to our guys, and but just for everybody, what advice would you give to kids looking to play at the next level?
It starts classroom first. If you do not have your grades right, it's going to be tough for you to get to that next level, first and foremost. Secondly, you have got to make some sort of effort as a player, whether it's oh boy.
Willie.
Okay. Do you want me to answer that one now, or do you want me to finish yours, Dee?
Go ahead and finish Dee first.
Okay. You have to make some sort of effort, whether it's making a highlight film, whether it's reaching out to your head coach to help you make a highlight film, or reaching out to a college coach. Go to camps. You have to be seen. You have to be. Can you be found without doing that? Sure, it happens, but you've got to put forth some sort of effort. When coaches come to your school, because they're going to come to your school, make the effort to go see them, especially if it's something you want to, a place that has a major that you want to study, or someplace near your family, or someplace close to home that you want to experience. But it's a two-way street. You got to put forth a little bit of effort, and I promise you'll like the results.
All right, so I'll put up Coach Wilson's question here, and I'll go ahead and ask them so people on Spreaker can hear us. He says, Schiff, it's great listening to you on here. 2 questions. One, I never had the chance to ask you before, but how did you become an offensive lineman with your size and stature? And then interested in hearing that. And 2, what is one thing you want each of your athletes you coach to remember about Coach Shiffman?
Okay, so number one, so I'll tell you this. Number one, I was always a bigger kid, like a fatter kid, not tall. I was always a fatter kid growing up. So I was a striper in junior football league. So I played offensive line. And then when I got to high school, I was 100% intent on playing fullback. I was going to be a fullback. I was going to carry the ball. I was going to block. I was going to be a fullback. I was going to be a fullback. I was going to be a fullback. First day of freshman football practice, the coach got up and was introducing him. I think we had 20 guys. All right, can anybody here snap a football? I'm looking around and kind of reluctantly put my hand up, and there I was. I was an offensive lineman for high school. Then I was bigger again. I got my first year of college football. Believe it or not, I was 265 at Augustana. And I couldn't play. I wasn't, first of all, I wasn't good enough to play at Augustana, but I couldn't move. I couldn't, use my speed and technique, which was sort of what made me the kind of football player I was. So when I went to Illinois College, my first year there, I think I was about 230. Still could move a little bit better, but not great. And then I think I went a little overboard probably and lost too much weight. And I think my junior year at IC, I played at about 190. So I played offensive line about 190 in Division III football. And then I joke my senior year, I bulked up to 205. So, but I was always the guy that was going to be use my technique, use my hands and my feet, and just kind of be quicker than you off the ball. I had enough strength that I wouldn't get bullied by a lot of guys, but I mean, I had my struggles with the big war daddies down there. But for the most part, I think my speed and technique kind of saved me a lot. And then what do I want my athletes to remember about me? I think just that I cared about them, off the field as much as I did on the field. And I always had their best interest at heart. And I'm always, and a lot of the guys know that I'm always a phone call away or a text message away. And I hope they all understand that. I know there's a couple guys out there that maybe thought I was too hard on them or coached them hard or